This is the Carpenter's Arms pub in Swindon, about a 2-hour drive from London. The owner, Bob Phil Martinez, is going through tough times. The smoking ban and high alcohol taxes have contributed to what he says are 50 pubs closing each week in Britain. Bob says pubs can't compete with supermarket prices. He blames the European Union.
So you're left in a position where a European directive is forcing us to have 17.5% or 15% VAT, but another European directive is saying, but you can't stop the supermarkets from selling it at less than wholesale to customers. And so you've got two separate European directives there that are actually directly impacting on the ability of the pub sector in the UK to survive.
And when it comes to survival, Bob believes his nation would be better off on its own, even if it's been an EU member since 1973.
In terms of Britain's relationship with the European Union, I always smile when people say that, look at all the benefits we're getting, the European Union give this for such a project or that for such a project. But the reality is all the European Union do is take £12 billion from Britain and give us £8 billion back to spend on projects that they tell us to spend them on. And so therefore they're not doing us any favours in that sense.
The debate over Britain's relationship with the EU is not new. For the last 2 years, the opposition Tory party vowed to hold a referendum on a treaty they said was undemocratic. But on November 4th, David Cameron, who's expected to become the next Prime Minister, dropped a political bomb.
Yesterday in Prague, the Czech Constitutional Court rejected the one remaining challenge to the Lisbon Treaty, and the President of the Czech Republic then signed it. The Lisbon Treaty has now been ratified by every one of the 27 member states of the European Union. And our campaign for a referendum on the Lisbon Treaty is therefore over.
No referendum on Europe. Not good news for Britain, which after Latvia is viewed as the most eurosceptic member of the EU. Britain's eurosceptics don't want the euro, they don't want Brussels telling them what to do. And whether right or wrong, they feel the EU, now that Lisbon has been ratified, will commit sovereign nations to a federalist future from which there is no escape. A superstate ruled from Brussels. Stuart Noltolt is deputy chairman of the Campaign for an Independent Britain, the country's oldest eurosceptic group.
The gap between the electors and the elected is now increasingly broad. There is a very low level of confidence in government honesty and probity in the UK as a whole, and I think that's reflected several times over when you broaden that to Europe. There's no confidence and trust at all.
It's estimated that between 55 and 65% of Britain's 60 million people want some type of referendum on their relationship with the EU.
I haven't really got an opinion on it, actually. I don't really know, because I certainly don't want to lose the pound, so there's that. I don't like Belgium or the European Union having the say over our sovereignty and having the powers to tell us what to do. So no, I probably am against it at the moment.
I believe that at the start, when the British joined the European Parliament, it was actually a different guise that we were going to join under. It has since evolved into something completely different. I think it's something we have to live with, whether it's right that we're in it or not. I personally, a lot of the things that are coming out of Europe I don't agree with, but I'm afraid we're in it, and I think we've got to make the best of it.
I don't want to be ruled by someone else.
We don't want somebody in another country telling us what to do. We should be able to do this ourselves.
Well, I think the referendum will be popular, but I think, we've agreed and signed up to it now, so this whole big issue about Europe I find very uninteresting, and people, there are bigger fish to fry, really, in terms of the problems the country faces.
Falling housing prices, rising unemployment, plus a weak pound have hit Britain's economy hard. For Brendan Donnelly, who is a former Conservative MEP but pro-European, Europe won't be a top priority in next year's general elections.
I think that Cameron has decided, as a matter of strategic decision, that he mustn't talk too much about Europe. That the electorate, the British electorate, although they're fairly Eurosceptic, easily get bored and irritated by too much conversation about Europe. They want to hear about jobs, they want to hear about the economy, they want to hear about law and order in schools. I think Mr Cameron is clever enough to understand that he mustn't go too far talking about Europe. Not because he's other than a Eurosceptic, but he has a more savvy, a cannier view of political tacticking than a lot of people in his party.
But the United Kingdom Independence Party has no intention of letting talk about Europe die down. Although a fringe party in the UK, it came second in last June's European elections. They're a one-issue party to take Britain out of the EU, which they claim is undemocratic. Case in point, Baroness Cathy Ashton and Belgium's Herman Van Rompuy, Europe's foreign policy high representative and European Council president.
You now have, indeed, two people, the two most powerful people in Europe. They haven't been elected. Now, Van Rompuy has been elected as an MP at least. He's been elected as leader of the Christian Democrats in Belgium, or the Flemish Christian Democrats. So yes, he has some in Belgium, but not over us. Not over the French or the Germans. The French and the Germans want him because he's not going to embarrass Mr Sarkozy and Angela Merkel. It is, for UKIP in Britain, it's delightful. Yeah, because it just proves our point. These people don't get democracy. It's not in their interests.
With its anti-Europe stand, UKIP says it already has Conservatives defecting to its party. While they admit they don't know if they will be voted to Parliament next year, they hope to keep the pressure up on what else? Europe.
There is an overwhelming support in this country and in the Conservative Party for a substantive referendum, not necessarily a straight should we be in or should we be out, but certainly on a completely new reappraisal of our relationship with the EU. If David Cameron isn't going to offer that, then I fear, as has happened with most Conservative and indeed other governments over the past 20 years, the whole European debate will continue to fester and will poison his entire term in office.
The Conservatives are determined to topple Labour next year. But whoever is elected to deal with Europe under the Lisbon Treaty rules, Eurosceptics will argue, will have been democratically elected the British way.